Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Adventures in Drunk Fish Keeping. That is refreshing. Tonight's brew is a simple Yuengling lager, which is great for all your cleaning and fish keeping needs if you're not trying to get too special. So, tonight's episode is going to be a two-parter. The first part is going to be on the Fluval Flex 15. The second part is going to be on the 120. Really highlighting a fish species that's really cool and is a little bit harder to keep for some of the marine hobbyists, and I got a few tips and tricks to keeping this fish and keeping it healthy. So, first up, Fluval Flex 15. Did a water change on it, actually adding some new fish to it. Red honey gouramis, really pretty fish. We'll have them in here shortly, you guys will see. Real basic overview of the Fluval Flex 15. If you've not watched any of my previous videos or seen one of these in person, I'm not going to stop hiccuping because beer in America. So first off, this first chamber right here is basically for your pickup and pull to go through the filter system. You have room in here to do additional mechanical filtration media here and or a protein skimmer. If you've never seen one of the micro protein skimmers that Fluval offers, this is one of them. This is actually for my 13.5 gallon Evo Flex. Really cool system. Micro protein skimmer for your nano tanks. Really good thing to do. Here you basically have your mechanical slash biological slash chemical filtration. Anyone who's familiar with Fluval systems know it's just a simple cartridge style setup, with your mechanical being like the hold through of everything, with your biological and your chemical sitting into it. You can change your biological out. I actually got rid of the carbon in this one, went to a Purigen. I get a little bit of extra help. I'm actually using a packet of Purigen that's meant for a 100-gallon system, so I definitely have plenty of filtration there for it. And then over here is going to be for your return pump slash you want to put a heater or anything else you need to kind of cram in there. That's where it's at. So one of the biggest problems I found about the Fluval is this return is really not enough agitation. I mean, you can adjust these wherever you want. It'll get some flow going. Even for a freshwater system, I put a wave maker in here. I put a high door 420 gallon per hour system. I grabbed one of these out of my saltwater, clean it up really good, put it in here because it needs the flow. You just don't get the amount of agitation that you need unless you're doing fish species that are really meant to be like suspended fish. You know, betas will enjoy it. A lot of your smaller species will enjoy it, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you I have in this tank a blue German ram, a 5 of the micro cories, and 1 Pristil Tetra. Now, they love the flow as it is. I wouldn't really recommend trying to run this tank with different fish species that are in different areas as far as movement without having like an additional power hit in it. It's one of those things that really kind of needs to be done at the tank, or put a bigger pump in it and increase your outflow here. If you can see, I have my pump pointing to the wall and pushing around with these, kind of making it back in just to give the swirl. Definitely something I recommend. One of the reasons why this Fluval is such a kick-ass tank is because, one, it's a low iron tank. So as you can see, no lights on the tank right now. Awesome clarity, quality of the tank. 2, the back zone for filtration. Now, this is a 15-gallon tank. Now, they offer this in a 9 and a 15. I went ahead and got the 15. I would recommend if you're going to start with a tank, do the 15. The 9 is smaller unless you're just super duper limited on space. Start with the 15. It's not that much of a bigger tank, but it gives you a little bit more retail, what you can do, retail space, what you can do with your fish. A lot of people some people complain about this whole back wall being in place. Don't really know why they complain, because it allows them to have an entire setup with filtration, pump, heater, everything, and they're only losing probably 3 inches of room in the back of the tank, but they're gaining all this they don't have to have hanging off the back of the tank, along with the fact that you have the hood system with lighting set up that you don't have in a lot of other tanks. You don't have to run a bar across it, and it's not, you know, I've seen some people, you know, talk about, oh, I pulled this out of the way and I got a full 15-gallon tank and blah, 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 but then they have to have a hang on the back pump and filter, and they gotta have a heater hanging over here, and it's messy looking, and it's like, okay, cool, why didn't you just go buy a 20-gallon tank, and why'd you even buy the tank? A couple cool things about the tank, like I said, all in one. There's a hood area right here where you can have the top of your protein skimmer hanging out. These tanks can be turned into a saltwater tank. A lot of people will say no, they can't. They're wrong, they can be. There's no difference between a Fluval Flex 15 and a like Fluval Evo except for the lighting system. I've owned both and I'm telling you this, there's no difference. The pump is the same, the filtration is the same, the pickup, everything is the same except for this is like a out bow front as opposed to a peninsula style tank. There's no difference in any of the hardware. It's the same tank. The lighting difference. Now, when you come to the lights on your Fluval Flex, they will handle a lot of your like A-cans you can run here, some of your like torches, hammers, frog spawns, Duncans, things like that that don't need insanely specific lighting requirements you can run here. Some of your hard crusting corals, your A-can, or not A-can, excuse me, acros, things like that, not gonna be the best thing to run here, but if you're gonna do acros, you're not gonna be buying a Fluval Flex put acros in anyway. But if you're someone who wants to have a nice little nano fresh or saltwater tank, this is the one to get. If you want to get into the hobby, this tank will get you in the hobby. If you've been out of the hobby and want to get back in, this is the tank that will get you back in the hobby. It's easy to use. It's easy to maintain. It's simple to work on. It's simple to do stuff to. It's very easy access to everything. You pop the lid off, you're in here. Lid will come completely off. Everything's built into the lid as far as lighting goes. You can gain access to everything on the back end. Very simple. One of the things too, and if you watched previous videos, and this is a big thing with these tanks, a lot of people don't know, on these, filter floss in your pre-chamber here will become your friend if you want to have absolutely crystal clear water. You can obtain crystal clear water without doing that, but if you're doing like a planted tank like I've got in this, and you're not any type of protein skimming, that helps kind of get a lot of that extra biological junk out of the way. And it's cheap. I mean, you can buy a huge pack of sheets of, filter floss. It's 10, 12 bucks, and it'll last, that pack's lasting me a year. An overall maintenance cost between buying a bag of Purigen and a few other things for the tank as far as just like to keep the planted stuff going, fertilizer for them and things like that. I have probably spent in maintenance costs on this tank $50 over the course of the year, not including any stuff that I need for the tank, like, fish or, aquascaping things. So they're cheap tanks to get into, and this is what will bring you back in the hobby if you've been out of. This is what will get you interested in the hobby if you hadn't done it. And just to say, I am in no way in part sponsored by Fluval. I have no affiliation with these guys. I pay retail for everything I've got. I'm just really impressed with their products. In between the lights I've had on other tanks, 2 of the Fluval tanks I've already owned, they're nice tanks. So that kind of finishes up the Fluval. This is a good all-around tank. It's a great tank to have if you want a good, just a good general get you started, or even just the tank to be cool, just a cool tank to look at. You got space for it. Great tanks, really cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, post them down below. I'm going to be bringing another video here shortly. I'm going to do on the 120. It's got to do a couple things to it. And then I'll be showing you a really cool video on a really cool fish species that I'm really in love with. So, and again, if you like the video, send a like, questions, comments, put them down below. Other video will be coming here shortly. Thanks, guys.